She once walked onto the biggest stage in tennis as a complete unknown and walked off it as a national hero. Now she's going back. And this time, the entire tennis world already knows her name. On Wednesday, July 22nd, the United States Tennis Association released the official entry list for the 2026 US Open, and there, sitting comfortably inside the main draw, was 21-year-old Alex Eala of the Philippines, seeded 29th. No qualifiers, no wildcards, no nervous waiting by the phone. Alex earned her spot outright.
Being upset,
and for Filipino sports fans, that single line on an official document is enough to set off celebrations from Manila to New York. She isn't going alone, either. Southeast Asia is sending its strongest tennis delegation in years. Indonesia's Janice Tien comes in at number 38. Thailand contributes 2 names, Lanlana Tararudi at 82 and Mananchaya Sawangkayu rounding out the century mark at 100. But make no mistake, it's Eala who is leading this charge, and it's Eala the whole region is watching. To understand why this moment matters so much, you have to look at the year she's had. Just weeks ago, Alex was tearing through Wimbledon, putting together the best Grand Slam run of her career before eventually falling to Jasmine Paolini in the 4th round.
Yeah,
that result alone would have been a career
like
highlight for most players her age.
It's only normal.
For Alex, it was just one chapter in a much bigger story. Because before Wimbledon, she did something no Filipino tennis player had done in 26 years. At the 33rd Southeast Asian Games hosted in Thailand, Alex Eala won gold in women's singles. And she didn't just win it. She won it in the host nation, defeating the hometown favorite, Mananchaya Sawangkayu, right in the final. Think about that pressure for a second. Playing the crowd favorite on their own soil in a gold medal match, with more than 2.5 decades of national hunger riding on the outcome. She delivered anyway. That victory ended one of the longest gold medal droughts in Philippine tennis history, and it confirmed what a lot of people already suspected. Alex Eala isn't just the best player the Philippines has ever produced. She's the best player in the entire Southeast Asian region right now, full stop. So when her name showed up on that US Open list this week, it wasn't a surprise. It felt inevitable, but it's also deeply personal, because New York holds a very specific kind of magic for Alex and for everyone who's followed her career. Rewind to last year's tournament. Alex Eala walked into her opening round match as a relative newcomer on the sport's biggest stage, facing off against Denmark's Clara Tauson, ranked world number 15 at the time. Nobody expected much. What followed was one of the most thrilling matches of the entire tournament. Eala fought through 3 punishing sets, 6-3, 2-6, and a nail-biting 7-6 tiebreak that she closed out 7 points to 3. When the final point landed, Alex Eala had done something no one saw coming. She had claimed her first ever Grand Slam main draw victory, and she'd done it against a top 15 opponent, in front of a roaring New York crowd, in the most pressure-packed environment professional tennis has to offer. Of course, that fairy-tale run didn't last forever. In the very next round, unseeded Spanish-Moldovan player Cristina Buxa brought the story to an early close, sending Alex out with a 4-6, 3-6 defeat. It stung, but it also proved something important. Alex Eala wasn't a one-match wonder who got lucky against a bigger name. She was a legitimate threat who belonged on that court, and losing to a tough, unseeded veteran in a hard-fought 2-set match only reinforced that. Now she's heading back to the same city, the same tournament, the same courts, except this time everything is different.
Yeah,
she's not an underdog anymore.
Like
she's a seeded player, ranked 29th in the world, carrying a Wimbledon 4th-round run and a Southeast Asian Games gold medal into the draw. The target on her back has grown, and so has the belief that she can handle it. And she won't have it easy, because this year's women's field at the US Open is absolutely stacked. Defending champion Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus returns to protect her crown, and she'll have to get through an incredible list of contenders to do it. Kazakhstan's Elena Rybakina sits at world number 2. American star Jessica Pegula holds down the 3rd spot, with fellow American and 2023 champion Coco Gauff right behind her at number 4. Russia's Mira Andreeva comes in at number 5, fresh off a breakout season. While this year's Wimbledon finalists, Karolina Muchova of the Czech Republic and her compatriot Linda Noskova round out the top 7. And that's before you even mention the former champions scattered throughout the draw. Poland's Iga Swiatek, the 2022 winner. Britain's Emma Raducanu, the the 2021 champion whose fairy-tale run remains one of the most remarkable stories in modern tennis. Japan's Naomi Osaka, a two-time champion from 2020 and 2018, and Canada's Bianca Andreescu, who claimed the title back in 2019. It's a murderer's row of talent, and somewhere in the middle of it all, seated 29th, stands a 21-year-old from the Philippines who has already proven she doesn't back down from big names on big stages. Alex isn't wasting any time getting ready either. Just days after news of her main draw spot broke, she was already back in the United States, kicking off her US Open preparation with a string of tune-up tournaments in the weeks ahead. No rest, no victory lap, just straight back to work, because Alex Eala understands better than most what's at stake come late August. The US Open runs from August 30th through September 13th in New York City, and once again, the hopes of an entire nation and a whole tennis-hungry region will be riding on one player. Last year, Alex Eala gave Filipino fans a moment they'll never forget. This year, seeded, battle-tested, and coming off a golden year, she has every chance to give them something even bigger. What makes this run-up feel different is the momentum behind it. A year ago, Alex arrived in New York as a curiosity, talented but without a real Grand Slam resume. Now she arrives as someone opponents actually scout for, someone the Philippines' entire sporting calendar seems to orbit whenever a major tournament rolls around. That shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens through months of grinding on tour, through matches won and lost far from any highlight reel, through the unglamorous work of building a ranking point by point. There's a symbolic weight to this tournament too. Every time Alex steps onto a Grand Slam court, she's representing a country where tennis has long lived in the shadow of basketball and boxing, with limited facilities and limited funding. Yet the Philippines has produced a player good enough to trade shots with the best in the world. That context is part of why her SEA Games gold felt so massive back home, and part of why this seeding feels like validation rather than a fluke. Southeast Asia as a whole is having a moment too. With 4 players from the region in the main draw this year, it's a signal that women's tennis here is no longer an afterthought. Alex Eala has become the clearest proof that the investment is paying off, and she's opening a door for the players coming up right behind her. None of that guarantees anything once the draw is made and she has to step onto Arthur Ashe or one of the outer courts against whoever fate assigns her. A stacked field like this one, headlined by Sabalenka, Gaff, Swiatek, and a handful of former champions, leaves very little room for error. But if last year's opener against Clara Tauson proved anything, it's that Alex Eala doesn't shrink in these moments. So mark the calendar. Late August, New York City, the hard courts of Flushing Meadows waiting once again. A 21-year-old from the Philippines, seeded 29th, carrying a gold medal, a career-best Wimbledon run, and the expectations of an entire region on her shoulders. Whatever happens next, one thing is already certain. Alex Eala is no longer the surprise story of the US Open. She's one of the players everyone else has to watch out for.